Just testing the levels here, testing the levels. I think we're good. I think we'll go ahead and get after it, see what happens.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And I am back once again. It's Sunday, not Saturday. It's Sunday afternoon, and I am tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And I am here all by my lonesome today. Yesterday, we just had a hard time. Everyone's working, kind of doing their own thing. I know the old Cajun Cowboy, he's got his own podcast now. So he gets kind of busy with that and work, and it's no problem. I've been doing this podcast now for, I don't even know, 3 or 4 years. I'm not sure. I don't even know what episode this is, but occasionally I'll jump on here and kind of do my own thing. And they just don't ever seem as fun as when I have the other guys on. But you guys get me today. I tried to get a little more organized because I am here by myself and no one needs to hear any dead air. I've got 2 computers going here. I got one for notes. I got one for the YouTube live that I am doing. Now, if you comment, I don't know that I'm actually going to respond, type comments on the computer today because I just can't do everything at once, but I will see them. They will pop up. I've got them up here on my big screen so I can check them out and hopefully respond to them as we go. But I hope everyone's new year is starting out well. I know I've had a pretty busy week, had a bunch of classes. Of course, classes are staying pretty busy. Lots of people calling me with everything that's going on. People are scared, and I hate to see that people are scared, but it makes for good business on my end. And I'm here to help those new gun owners out. I'm here to do whatever I need to do. I just got out of a meeting on Friday, with a lady over at the radio station. She helps me, promote my business and do all that kind of stuff. And we kind of laid out some bigger plans for Patriot Defense going into the new year. So I'm getting really excited about that. I am possibly kind of expanding my little small business here, expanding my operations to create a new revenue stream. And I'm really excited about it. In fact, I spent the last week or so really working on that, getting that ready. And when that's up and rolling, I will let you guys know. Until then, I'm going to keep you in the dark, keeping a lot of people in the dark. Few people know what I'm doing. And I'll announce it when the time is right. Trying to think of what else I've been doing this week. Kind of prepping. I keep talking about it, and I'm sorry I keep repeating stuff, but I'm just so darn excited. I'm going down to Arizona for 3 days, actually for about 5 days, for a class down there. And I've been checking the weather because it just turned off winter here. The wind is blowing. We've had rain. We've had snow. And so I'm going to escape down to Arizona for about 5 days. And it's going to be, folks, it's going to be in the 60s. And I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about it at all. I'm actually looking forward to it. Going down there now, I've got those 2 VP9s that I always talk about. So I'm beating a dead horse, I'm sure. But I always talk about those 2 VP9s that I have, and I bought that new one, and I'm still trying to get it set up for my red dots. Still no plates. No plates have arrived yet. I've been posting stuff on the Facebook page, which reminds me, if you want to follow me on my Facebook page, you go to Patriot Defense. That's the Facebook page. You can find me there. And I posted up some pictures. And HK, I've been on the HK handgun forum or whatever it's called. I don't really post there much. I just kind of poke around to see what's going on. And HK Parts actually jumped on there, and they have showed pictures of all the red dot plates. Red dot adapter plates are they're getting them finished up. Supposedly they're going to be available in a week or 2, and I have got every alert known to man set up on my computer. So as soon as they show up, hopefully hopefully I'm alerted and I can get the 2 plates that I need. I'm looking forward to that. But in the meantime, I upgraded that my new VP9 with the new trigger, and I was having some issues with it. I talked about this the other day. I cannot, and maybe I didn't mention this, but I'm having a heck of a time hitting with that gun. I cannot. I mean, I'm like a 1/4 inch low repeatedly. Like pick up my old one, I'm dead on. I pick up any other gun, I am dead on. This gun is almost just a spitting image, just a complete absolute replica of my old VP9. And I am hitting a 1/4 inch low. 1/4 inch low. I put 50 rounds into a hole a 1/4 inch lower from where I'm aiming, and I could not figure it out. So the other day I got the idea, hey, Todd, dummy, go out there and swap some slides. So I put the new slide to the old lower and vice versa, and nothing. I could not figure it out. I could not figure out what was going on. It wasn't my trigger. It wasn't my trigger pull. I'm not flinching. I even put both guns, hooked a Mantis X up to both of my firearms. If you don't know what a Mantis X is, it's a little training aid, kind of a game thing that you can put on. It helps you train, kind of, you can game with others. You hook up with them online, but it's a little training aid, kind of helps with your trigger press, trigger control, and all that stuff. It's pretty slick. And I thought for sure it was me. I'm doing something wrong that I don't see. So I'm going to hook the Mantis X up. I actually shot better with the new VP9, got a higher score than I did with the old VP9. Now they're pretty close, but it was still higher. And I was like, I'm not flinching. What am I doing here? Got to looking. It's the front sight. Now the front sight's not off. Okay. The front sight is, and I go over that with a lot of people. They always tell me, oh, I'm not shooting well, so I have to move these sights. No. That's never the answer. Do not adjust the sights to make up for your poor shooting. And that's kind of what I was telling myself. I didn't want to adjust the sights because I knew it had to be me. But the sights are on, folks. I mean, literally the sights are on. I mean, left and right, I was perfect. It was up and down, and you can't adjust those sights for elevation anyway. And I was looking, and so the new gun has an XS called, I think it's like XS big dot sights or something. They said it was, I just watched the video literally 10 minutes ago on YouTube, and they said that they had improved and upgraded the sights on the new VP9 2020. They didn't. They suck. They're horrible. They're absolutely horrible at least for me and my shooting style. Absolutely hate them. So it's a blacked out rear sight, which is fine. What it is. The front sight has a giant dot on it. Huge dot on it, right? Well, the old one that has the front sight has a little tiny dot on it. And so I kind of was hashing it out with my friend of mine who I know he listens to the podcast. His name is Levi. And I called him on the phone. I said, what do you think, man? Well, if you look at the center of the dots, the way and I'm gonna mess this all up because my brain has a hard time grasping this. It's just like kind of like sighting in a scope and different things. But that big dot, it sets. So it's the center of that dot sets a little higher. And when I shoot, I blot out, right? Superimpose that front dot on the center of wherever I want the bullet to impact. That's how I shoot. People told me about, you cut it in half with the top of the sight. I've never done that. Just superimpose it. No problems whatsoever. I've shot a ton of handguns. It's fine. It works for me. But the center, with the dot being bigger, the center is up a little higher. And so I'm actually pulling, I believe this is the way it works. I am actually pulling the gun down. Well, I'm not pulling the gun. I'm actually, the center of that is higher. So I'm lowering the gun. So when I shoot, the way I'm doing with that big dot, it's pulling my shot down low. It's not because I'm moving the gun. It's because everything's set up. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that sight. I don't think, but I like that little damn dot. And so that just irritates the heck out of me. And I thought about, I'm just going to go get another sight for it. And okay, because I like things kind of perfect. I'm kind of anal about stuff, and I like stuff to be the way I like it to be. When I want something done, it needs to be done that way. I'm kind of a control freak that way. But I was thinking about replacing that front sight. I wanted it perfect. I wanted to be able to take both VP9s in case I needed a backup gun for my class and have everything be absolutely 100% perfect. Well, eventually, when I get the adapter plates, I'm going to put a red dot on the new VP9. So I'm going to get new sights anyhow. I'm going to have to get suppressor height sights for it. So I was still going to pay the money, whatever it cost, and I was going to change that front sight out because it bothered me so much. But I backed off it. The chance of me having to go to a backup gun during the class because my other gun goes down or malfunctions or has problems are pretty slim, right? I'm going to get in there and clean this heck out of it like I should anyway, but it's due for its yearly cleaning. They're slim to none. Okay, so I think I'm going to go in with my old gun and I'll be just fine. And if something happens, it's probably not going to be the gun itself. It's probably more or less probably going to be the trigger. And if that happens, I'll just swap slides onto my old one. And I don't know. I just don't, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I hope not, but I think that's maybe you know better than me. I have no idea. But man, I tell you what, I'm not flinching. I'm not anything. It's got a good trigger. Now, trigger's not quite as good as my old one. It's getting there, but it's not there yet. That's got to be the problem. It's the size of that dot. And I will post a picture. I haven't done it yet, but I will post a picture up on Facebook after this podcast is over. And I'll show the front sights and I'll show the different dots, and you can kind of see the centers on them are different. I put XS big dot sights on a Springfield Armory XD9 subcompact years ago, and it was cool. And those sights are made for ping and still. They're made for quick target acquisition, quick sight acquisition on a target, and they're made for ping and still. They're made for punching holes in center mass, right? I like to do that too, but I get a little nitpicky. I like control, people. I like control. I like to be able to dial that trigger in. I like to stack shots. I like to put one, bullet after bullet in the same hole, right in the center of that bullet. I really enjoy that for some reason. Makes me happy inside. And I think with that bigger dot, that's what that's made for. It's not made for fine tune. It's made for bang, bang, ring and still, center mass shots, that kind of thing. I don't know that it's made for. Now I can stack shots with it if I hold a quarter inch above where I want to shoot. And I did do that, and it does work. But then again, I don't recommend that either. Fix the gun, fix something, whatever is going wrong, so that bullet's going to impact. Don't hold high or low or left or right for the shot. That's not the way to do it. But anyhow, that's been my big struggle. But that's just a me thing. It's the gun is fine. It's just a me thing. And I knew that going into it. And I never once, I'm blaming the sights now. I'm not blaming the gun. I'm blaming the sights, but the sights are dialed in and on. That's just a little different style. That's where I'm at. Maybe I'm wrong, but I like it there. So that's where I'm going to leave that. So I'm really looking forward to this class though. Go down, hopefully learn some new things, new ways to teach things. That's what I'm, I want to be honest. It's a pretty basic class that I'm going to. I mean, it's a 3-day class. We're going to cover some stuff that I wouldn't normally have in one of my basic classes, but it's a basic class. But they're going to teach me their version of it, and I'm going to learn how they teach it, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Because frankly, I can teach stuff over and over and over and over and over again, and I do, and I teach the basics, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you can teach a certain way, and it just clicks better for someone else. That's kind of what it's kind of why I'm going. I'm kind of, maybe it can kind of spice up what I teach a little bit, learn a different way to explain it. Kind of looking forward to that. So, and it'll be just fun to get down there in warm weather, shoot a bunch of rounds. It's like an 1,800 or 2,000 round class. Shoot a bunch of rounds while I'm down there. And it's Arizona, folks, and I like to run, and there's some trails there. So I'll be doing that in the evening as well. So maybe I'll get bit by a Gila monster, rattlesnake, who knows? But it's, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun trip. So I look forward to reporting back on that. Now I had some other stuff coming up, coming up this summer, and I had some races, not with guns, just running races, and I've canceled a few of those because I want to put more time and energy, like I should, into my business. I want to grow my business. And one of the things that I've been promising, I know you probably will recognize the name. I've had Tiger Schultz on this podcast numerous times every year, and we were talking about his running gun that he does down in, well, it's now in Missouri. I forget where it was at before, Kentucky, I don't know, but it's in Missouri now. And me and my buddy Levi were talking about going, and I was supposed to do my 100-mile race, and I could still do that one. I don't know that I'm going to, but I thought maybe I'd head down there, practice and see what that's all about, and get some trigger time and do some awesome podcast episodes while I was down there. Well, and it's good for Tiger. I'm not mad at Tiger, but Tiger put up a sad post the other day. He said that, congratulations to Tiger. He got accepted into grad school, and he's been trying to figure out how to do it all, and he just can't do it all this year. And so instead of dropping out of school and doing the run and gun, which is what I would do, I don't recommend people doing what I do. I always tell people, do as I say, not as I do. Tiger is actually, he wants to complete his grad school, and I totally get that. And he's got a lot going on. So he's opted not to do the zombie run and gun shoot this year. And it kind of makes me sad because this year, I haven't bought any tickets yet, but this year I was actually going to make time and go down there. But, oh well, it is what it is. I will come up with something else to do. I wish Tiger the best in grad school. That's not something I would want to do or be even interested in doing. But hey, Tiger likes it. He enjoys it. Get after it, man. And I'll be waiting, and I'll be practiced up, and I'll be in better shape for Zombie Run and Gun 2022, because he says that's still happening. So we'll do that. I guess I got another year or two before I actually make a fool of myself. Actually, probably if I'm going to do that, I should probably start shooting my rifle. That would probably be I should probably buy some 223 or 5.56 ammo if I could find some. Maybe it's a good thing that did get pushed to next year, because I'm really honestly not ready. I haven't shot my rifle in years, and I maybe have like 26 rounds of 5.56 or 223. So this might be a blessing in disguise. I haven't decided yet, but it is what it is. I'll be ready. Tiger, if you're listening to this, I'll be ready in 2022, and I'll be a force to be reckoned with. No, probably not. But it was kind of nice to say. I kind of looked kind of like saying that. So one more thing. Actually, there's lots of things. Actually, I got a whole list of things here, and I don't know that I'm going to get this to go a full hour. I tend to talk fast when I'm by myself. And there's not a lot of dialogue, because I can look over here at the chairs, and the chairs are all empty. Nobody's here but me. So I will probably talk pretty fast and get through everything that I need to get to. I'm pretty horrible when it comes to that. So I want to touch on a couple things. Another one of my favorite topics, besides talking about, I don't know, my VP9, I really like to talk about my VP9, is I'd like to touch on, just real quick, on the NRA. I get so much hate mail for my stance on the NRA, and I was doing my radio show the other day, and I got a text, a nasty, well, it wasn't a nasty text, but it was a text message that was sent to me, and we were commenting on the NRA. We're commenting on how the left was trying to go, and they were trying to take down the NRA, right? They were trying to take them down in lawsuits and all kinds of stuff, and they wanted to bring the NRA down. Well, I don't, and the guy on the radio show, he asked me, he goes, so, I mean, do you want to see the NRA? I said, you know what? I don't mind if the NRA goes away. I really don't want to be it, because I don't want it to be because some anti-gunners on the left decided to sue them and make them go out that way. Now, if that happens, it happens. I don't want to see it happen, but it may happen. What I would like to see happen is I'd like to see the NRA break down, fall apart, reorganize, and come back up again, rise like a phoenix from the ashes and do what they were meant to do what they started out doing. Okay. We don't need all these people making all this money up top. We don't need the greed and the corruption and the I'll do this for you if you do this for me kind of stuff. Because to a certain extent that's okay, but it gets bad. And then all of a sudden some executive is giving his son-in-law or brother-in-law all this business at some law firm, and they're funneling a bunch of money through there, and it just gets ugly, gets bad. And while I was talking about this, I get this text from a local guy here, and he's like, in fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If I can find it, which I may not be able to. Oh, right here. He texted me. He goes, as you are spouting all that crap, you just need to know that the NRA granted $438,000 to the state of Idaho for shooting sports. Fantastic. I'm glad they did that. But that doesn't make up for all the other stuff that they've done. They're essentially that 438,000 or whatever I said, that is a drop in the bucket from the amount of money that they get from their members. And they've taken that money from their members and they've wasted it. They've spent it on, suits for Wayne LaPierre and vacations. And I read one article where some guy was a newer executive, right? He'd come up through the ranks. He got up into the executive level. I don't have this guy's name, but I read this in an article that he had they were going on some like business trip. And he came out and said that he went and got a room at a local hotel, a pretty nice hotel, pretty nice one. And one of the other execs said, hey, where'd you get your room at? And he's like, well, I got my room over here. And you're like, no. You're an exec. You need to get 5 stars. You need to come to this place and get a room with us and hobnob with us. And so they made him cancel his room and go spend more money and get a room up there with them. That doesn't need to happen. Honestly, that does not need to happen. It's I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. That's just a waste of money. It's a blatant waste of money. That's all it is. And that's how they have fallen apart, right? They need to fall apart. They need to reorganize, get rid of the people that have been there for thousands of years and get a new leader, right? Get rid of Wayne LaPierre. I spend $35,000 on a suit, get rid of him and start doing what they were meant to do. And that was to protect our gun rights, to help lobby for us all. And I know that stuff takes money. Right. But you can do that without staying at a 5-star hotel. You can do it. I mean, look at places like GOA and grassroots. I mean, this is what we need to do. So to that gentleman that got mad at me, they do some good stuff. They do. But that is a drop in the bucket. Imagine how much more they could do if they weren't wasting their money on stuff like that. Imagine how much more they could do. I mean, that's the way I look at it. That's the way I see it. So another thing that I want to talk about is there's a gentleman, and I can't believe around here that people don't know who some of these people. I hang out with guys that train a little bit, that instruct, that own gun stores, all kinds of stuff. And there's so many people that don't know some of the bigger names in the Second Amendment community, in the gun community, in the instructor community. Now, I don't know these guys personally, right, that I'm going to talk about here, but they don't know names like Massad Ayub. There's a lot of them that don't know that guy. They don't know big names like Rob Pincus. Ugh, are you hiding under a rock? Really? You don't know who Rob Pincus is? I personally like Rob Pincus. He does training. He does like his ICE training and defensive. The defensive network. He does that as well. He's on the Second Amendment Foundation. I believe he's also on the board of the NRA, and he's trying to get some stuff changed over there. But he's a great guy, and I really like watching his stuff on Facebook and the videos that he puts out, because some of that stuff that he does is pretty amazing stuff. And he puts out and he says stuff that people don't like to hear, but is being honest. I like it because it's not the same old canned voice over and over and over and over again. So he wrote an article a few months ago. Actually, it was in January, but it was about an article that he wrote, I think, back in like November. It says it's time for Democrat gun owners to stand up, but is the gun community ready for them? So let's back this up for a minute. I got some numbers down. I did a little bit of research here. So last year alone, there were 23 million firearms sold. 23 million firearms sold. 21 million background checks were done. Okay, so that means I think some people were buying multiple firearms, obviously, with one background check, which you can do. There was 8.4 million first-time buyers. 8.4 million first-time gun buyers. That's absolutely amazing. Now, and we've touched on this before. I mentioned it numerous times. But I just want to bring it up because then it'll play into what I'm going to talk about here. We all read the articles where there were people on the left that were first-time gun owners, that they were buying guns for the first time, and they didn't realize, or their own laws kind of bit them a little bit, right? I want that gun delivered. Well, you can't have that gun delivered to your house. You've got to fill out a NICS background form. You got to do transfer paperwork, all this stuff, right? So we have newbies like that. We also have, and I want to say Republicans, right? Republicans, I'm looking at my notes here on my computer. You are not the only gun owners out there. There is gun owners. There's libertarian gun owners. Obviously, there's Republican gun owners. And let's listen here. There is people on the left. There's Democrats who own guns and like to shoot and who are as passionate about the Second Amendment as you are. There are. And people forget that, right? They forget that. So think about that. There's people on the Democratic side, the leftist side. It's time for them to stand up with us. It's time for everyone to unite. Libertarians, Republicans, Democrats. If you are a gun owner, if you are an advocate for gun rights, right? Gun rights are human rights. Gun rights are civil rights. We all need to stand up and become a force to be reckoned with, because frankly, to a certain extent, we aren't. And you got the Republicans mad at the libertarians, and I say libertarians because I'm a libertarian, but we have the Republicans hate the Democrats, and they say stuff about the Democrats, and you might be saying bad stuff, calling a Democrat or a liberal a libtard, okay? Because I've said it too. I'm not saying I've said it too. We've all said, hey, you liberals, hey, those stupid libtards over there, they voted for Biden, right? Well, yeah, they possibly did, but they possibly might be for gun rights too. Or maybe they didn't. Maybe they wanted to save their gun rights, and so they voted for Trump. You have no idea. It's not really good to go out and offend someone who feels the same about gun rights as you, right? No party owns that issue. There's over 100 million gun owners in the United States, okay? Think about that. There's around 70 million Americans voted for each of the leading two presidential candidates in this last election. Okay. Some, some gun owners voted for Biden. Some gun owners didn't vote at all, which, okay, you must not be that passionate about it if you don't care. Some non-gun owners voted to re-elect President Trump. Think about that. Some people that think universal background checks are okay probably voted for Trump. Some people that think ownership of AR-15 rifles is okay probably voted for Biden. Some people with a wide variety of opinions on guns voted libertarian, or possibly wrote in everyone from Bernie Sanders to Wayne LaPierre. Bad idea. It is foolish to think that everyone who is a gun owner is a Republican and will vote for Republicans. And many people will remind us that some Republicans aren't real Republicans. Yeah, that's I mean, that's a thing. And yes, these are the same people. They are the same people who feel they can identify real gun owners based on their votes. You don't know who's voting. I mean, you got a lot of people on the left, Democrats, liberals, okay, let's use their proper names, that are gun owners, that want gun rights. Okay. So we all need to stand up and get together and say, no, enough is enough, right? I poked around a little, and I did over the weekend, and I got on some Facebook pages, liberal gun owners. I joined them. I wanted to check it out. I wanted to see what they were saying, because I've heard enough of what we're saying, right, on the right or the libertarians, which even is a little different than the right, obviously. I've listened to what we're saying, but I've also heard now that I've read on these Facebook pages to see what kind of comments. There was an article that came out the other day, and I forget what city or state, and I failed to pull it up, and I apologize 100%. But it came out, and it said some gun store put a sign on their door that said, if you voted for Biden, then we don't want your business here. If you're a left, if you're a liberal, we don't want your business here. We're not going to sell you ammo. We're not going to sell you guns. That store can do whatever they want. But here you go. You're ostracizing, right, a group of people that is honestly in your corner. They are honestly in your corner for gun rights. And this store's thumbing their nose saying, you're a Republican, we don't want you here. They possibly voted for Trump. No one says they voted for Biden. I mean, it's crazy. And we do that too with the, I hate to say it, but, we do that with everyone. So I would imagine in fact, I should get someone on here and interview them. Not today, but I may do that in the future, actually. You look at the LGBTQ community. I know that there's a whole group. I mean, there's got to be a bunch of gun owners there, a bunch of 2A people, who are in the LGBTQ community. I know that there is a group of, there is actually a shooting association. I think it's called the Pink Pistols. And they get together, they shoot, they train. Everyone has the right to self-defense. And not everyone hates firearms. I don't care if you're right, you're left, you're libertarian, you're in the LGBTQ community. We all need to stand up. You may not agree with their life choices. Okay. Tough. It doesn't matter. What you do over here with your life choice shouldn't affect me. I don't care what you do. But hey, if we can come together on firearms and we can become a force to be reckoned with, why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we rally up? We should get some legislation in place. We should. We all have one goal in mind. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you do with your life. Okay, it doesn't matter. We all, like our firearms, we all support the Second Amendment, and that's should be our main focus, because now is the time. I haven't seen. We've all heard that. We've all heard what was going on with Biden and everyone else, right? We've all heard that. We've all seen that. We've seen them talk about it when they were coming up the presidency, and they say things here or there. And I'm not saying be unaware. I mean, I'm aware. I'm not, but I'm looking at it. I'm taking it a day at a time. But if they do what they want to do, it's not going to be good, and we need to push back. And obviously, it's going to take more than just the Republicans to push back. We are going to have to drop the party lines. We're going to have to drop anything that separates us and say, are you a supporter of the Second Amendment? Do you support gun rights? Because that's what we need to be focused on. And when this comes down, we're going to need all the help that we can get. We really are. And so that's something to think of. You've got to let's do this too, because I'm on a roll here, because I see this in my class. And in Idaho, unfortunately, everyone makes the Californian jokes. Everyone. We have a lot of them moving here, and some of them are great. Some of them move for the right reasons. Some of them not so much. Some of them are changing the state. Some of them are changing some counties in Idaho, right? They do bring up, they don't always agree with us, but there are a lot that do, and a lot that come up here for the freedoms, and a lot that come up here for the rights, the Second Amendment rights, especially, and the freedoms. And here we are making jokes about them. And here we are posting, and I see people on the buy sell trade pages and whatever making nasty jokes and just mean and horribly mean to people moving up from California. Well, we're better than that. We are better than that, and those people might be a Second Amendment supporter. How about we be friendly to them and find out, because they may be in our corner, man, just because they're from California, just because they're LGBTQ, just because they're liberal or Democrat or whatever, doesn't mean that we can't join forces with them if we have something in common. It's like we're dividing ourselves up when we're stronger together as a whole, and we just keep dividing each other, right? And that's what everyone wants, is this division. We're stronger as a whole if we can all get together and do something. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. That's the way I see it. And I really enjoyed it. And I won't say it was this, my idea specifically. I have a hard time with words sometimes, and I have a hard time getting my thoughts laid out. So I was really glad to see this article written by Rob Pincus. Now that dude irritates me a little bit sometimes, but you know what? He has a lot of cool stuff to say, and I like it because, like I said, it goes against mainstream. So I mean, I think we have to change our thinking a little bit. I think we need to change our thinking and come up with a way to fight that's different than what we've been doing. Okay. We're all, there's a good chunk of us, like I said, LGBTQ, Democrat, liberal, you name it, Republican, libertarians, everything, right? There's a big, if we're all pro-gun, we're all pro-gun. Okay. A good chunk of us. Our primary voting issue may be gun rights. We might advocate for gun rights and lobby for changes in laws that increase gun freedoms. We might think that all gun control is unconstitutional and every gun restriction is an infringement. We might spend countless hours every year voluntarily working for the cause of gun rights. You might even consider yourself a one-issue voter. We aren't like every gun owner. That's okay. Every gun owner isn't going to vote for the same person. That's okay too. We just have to come together on the issues that we do have in common and rise up. We really do. And I'm going to do my famous poke at Trump a little bit. Poke at Trump. Trump was supposed to be the greatest president known to man. That's what I was told for 4 years. Okay. He was supposed to be Mr. 2A. He was going to protect our Second Amendment rights. I'm saying no. I'm saying no. I'm saying he didn't fight for our 2A rights. If anything, we lost the bump stocks, and people said, well, he stacked the courts with his Supreme Court justices, and he got him in there. And hell, they didn't. The ones that he just put in didn't even back him up. Didn't even back him up when he needed them to. So did he do much for the Second Amendment? No, he did not. I think I heard him say a couple times, well, when that Virginia thing was going down, well, you guys should pay attention. You guys should fight for this. That's all he said. He could have done so much more. Did he do lots of good stuff? Well, yeah, he did. But was he good for the Second Amendment? Nah, I don't think so. I mean, there's a little interpretation that needs to take place there. But I honestly don't think that he was as great as everyone thought that he was. Honestly, he wasn't in my mind. And we all know that. We all know where Todd stands on that. So I'm trying to look here for just a minute. What else do I got going here? Let's I want to play this little. I do have a news clip, and I forgot to play it. I had some issues with my board, and I try not to make it obvious when I have some technical issues, but I did. In fact, this podcast right now is probably only going to go out in YouTube form. My board just, something happened to it. I'm not quite sure what. It just quit. It's still on, but it quit recording. So I got to figure that out. Hopefully I can steal the audio off of this video and I can still put it out in podcast form. Definitely going to try that. But I tell you what, I do have a little bit of a clip here talking about all the people that bought firearms and what they're seeing and maybe who they are. Probably something you've heard before, but I think we'll just go ahead and play it anyhow because the numbers are just astounding. So here we go.
Bring in Ryan Rep. He's from Brownells. Brownells sells guns. It is a gun company and business is clearly booming. But Ryan, I want you to tell us who's buying, because we understand there's 5, 6, 7 million new owners of guns. Who are they?
That's right. Yeah, Stu, thanks for having me on. The NSSF is estimating at about 8 million new gun owners actually in 2020. And they just don't fit the caricature of what many would consider to be the average gun owner. Based on our sales, if we compare that to NSSF data, we're seeing a lot more guns going to urban areas. About 40% of new gun owners are actually women, and African Americans are buying it. They're the largest growing group at 58% up year over year.
African Americans are buying 58% more guns than they bought the previous year. Is that an accurate way to put it? 58% more?
That's absolutely correct. Yep.
And women, 40% buy 40% more guns in the hands of women than a year ago. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's absolutely accurate. So if you take the NSSF data and you pair it to what we have for sales data, I don't think it's unreasonable to hypothesize that a significant number of these people are from democratic or other political ideologies.
Right.
We're talking about a constitutional right here at the end of the day, and not what is something that gets politicized often. But it's not just politics. This is the Constitution we're talking about.
What about the guns that women are buying? Are they primarily pistols or some long guns?
Yeah, women are buying pistols, self-defense pistols, but that's the hottest category. Pistols are by and large the lion's share of that, followed by shotguns and your AR-15 type of weapon.
Ammunition. I have a place in rural New York, and there's a line around the door to buy new ammo. Is that a nationwide shortage, and what's the problem? Yeah,
it sure is a nationwide shortage. You have brands like, I think, Vista and others who have announced just incredible back orders on ammunition. Problem, I think, really is there's an incredible demand. People are just buying up everything they see, but you have to think about the factories, particularly in 2020, who were not necessarily expecting to see this giant increase. And so they've got raw materials that they've got to go out and find that they didn't necessarily plan for. So it's sort of the perfect storm for ammunition manufacturers.
With all this increased demand for guns, have you raised prices?
We're trying our best not to raise prices, of course, with scarcity and the manufacturers trying to find raw material requires us to raise prices just a little bit, but we're certainly trying to keep them down as much as we can.
Okay, Ryan, look, thanks very much for joining us. Important information on who is buying these guns. Very interesting.
So there you go. I mean, there's a variety of people buying firearms, especially over the last year. And we just need to know that that's a lot of people. I mean, 23 million firearms sold, 8.4 million first-time gun buyers. I mean, we need to gather them up and get them in our ranks, accept them, whether they are anything like us or not. It doesn't matter. They must be for gun rights. We need to educate them on gun rights and show them how to move forward, show them the different associations they can join to help preserve our Second Amendment way of life. We need to, the media is really good at terms, right? And I deal with this all the time. I mention this in class to especially in my private classes. I always ask people, especially if they're first-time gun owners, I talk about guns, semi-automatic guns. I talk about fully automatic guns, and I talk about AR-15. And I always ask them, do you know what AR-15 stands for? And this should be, everyone should know this in the gun world, right? It's been going around a thing for quite a while. And they'll say, yeah, it means assault rifle. And I'm like, no. That's what the media tells you. What it stands for is Armalite rifle. AR stands for Armalite rifle. 15 is the model number. That's the Armalite is the company that first came up with this and manufactured it and all that good stuff. And they usually look at me and they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, you're fed a line by media. You were classified. They came up with a term, right? And you took it to heart and you used it. So we need to be kind of careful with the type of speech we use, especially if we want to be inclusive to other gun owners, because as we've just discussed, they're everywhere, different areas, LGBTQ, left, libertarian, any of that, right? So we need to stop saying the left when we mean anti-gunners. We need to stop saying them when we mean gun grabbers. Because just because you're a Democrat, just because you're left, does not mean you are a gun grabber. And when you say that and you classify them all like that, you're just irritating them and you're creating more of a divide. They don't want to be called that, because they like guns. They maybe have more guns than you. Maybe they go out and train more than you. You don't know. Okay. We need to stop saying Democrats when we mean Nancy Pelosi or Mike Bloomberg. Okay. They all just don't fit into a box, right? There's so many of them. There's so many different levels. We just need to be careful what we do. We all need to learn to come together. We need to be more accepting as the 2A community. I know that there's tons of people from different walks of life that make up our community, and we need to welcome them in. Just here, Patriot Defense. Anyone can come take a class at Patriot Defense. I don't care. LGBTQ, left. I mean, I've had people who, on the left who came and said, I hate guns. I never thought I'd own one. But here I am. I need to learn. And, oh, wow, this is fun. 20 minutes later, this is fun. I'm going to do this some more. And they hit me up with questions, right? And that's fantastic. I don't care who you are. If you want to learn how to use a firearm, get a hold of me and we will get you in. Okay. It's not a problem. But, okay. I sure hope I can get this into my podcast. I'm going to sink this Roadcaster, my little board here, to the bottom of the river. But let's have a little bit of fun here. And there's another, I had so many people send me links to this news story, and which I thought was kind of fun. So, and I'll say I listen to a lot of podcasts. I really like listening to paranormal type podcasts and Bigfoot type stuff and hearing all people's stories. Believe it or not, I don't know. We're not going to get into that, but I do like to listen to it. And there was an interesting story that came out of Oklahoma.
An Oklahoma lawmaker proposing a bill to establish a Bigfoot hunting season in Oklahoma, allowing people to buy a hunting license. He's hoping this is going to increase tourism in his district and maybe even lead to the capture of the fabled beast. News reporter Bailey Devane has the story.
You might be able to take your chances in capturing Bigfoot if Oklahoma Representative Justin Humphrey's new bill passes through legislation. Humphrey says people would be allowed to purchase a license to hunt Bigfoot. He shared on his Facebook page that he does not want Bigfoot to be killed, but captured instead.
This is my goal, is to try to get the wildlife department to maybe support a $25,000 bounty on Bigfoot, and that by doing so, we're going to have lots of people come out and want to participate in looking for Bigfoot.
Humphrey says the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Commission would set Bigfoot hunting season dates and set the price of the licenses. In his Facebook video, he says he hopes these licenses would increase tourism to his district and boost the local economy.
We believe if they come to our area, they'll want to come back. They're going to tell their friends. They're going to bring people back.
We have a Bigfoot hunter here locally. The Milner family of Huntsville says their son loves to hunt for Bigfoot in their backyard, looking for clues and signs of the beast. He says he had a Bigfoot encounter of his own.
I was asleep, and my cousin was still up during 3 a.m. Then she woke me up, then I saw she pointed out the window, and we saw red eyes. So glowing red eyes out the window.
If Humphrey's bill passes, people would be able to purchase a Bigfoot hunting license sometime November 2021.
Definitely would get him a license, just some memorabilia about it. it's something that he loves and enjoys.
In Fort Smith, covering news where you live, Bailey Devane, 5 News.
Well, the Oklahoma House finished their bill filings yesterday and will have their first legislative meeting to review these final bills, including this one, when the session starts on February 1st.
We will have to keep an eye on that. That'll be a breaking news story, whether or not we can all gear up, go to Oklahoma, and look for Sasquatch. I've got a gopher trap. Do you think that would work? We have to trap him. I don't think we can kill him. I think we have to trap him alive, and $25,000. Oh, we'll see if it passes. I'm kind of intrigued a little bit. Anyhow, I love those odd stories like that, and we'll definitely keep an eye on that. And sorry for some of that audio, those phone calls that they played on the news story. That wasn't on my end. That was on their end. They did not sound well. So they did not sound good. But anyhow, maybe they interviewed him and maybe they were masking their voice because they were excited to go trap Sasquatch. Who knows? Okay, one more thing, and then we're going to finish this up before my Roadcaster Pro over here just quits working 100%. Fingers crossed. Locally, we've had a push, and I think we talked about this before, but locally we've had a push here for cities, and I think we had a big push for our state and even some local cities. I think if I read it right, there's like 5 of them that have created this Second Amendment sanctuary cities, and they're trying to do that for the state. So the cities here in Idaho are Kuna, Star, Nampa, Gooding, or Eagle, and then just recently Gooding. I know Twin Falls, the big city just down the road for me, bigger city, they tried to do it, and they said, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We're not going to sign on for any sanctuaries. That is disappointing. Well, it's a good thing I don't live in Twin Falls. So the little town that I made a decision this morning, and my wife just looks at me and shakes her head. I made a decision this morning. I'm not quite sure how to do it, but I'm going to round up some people, and I live in, tell you where I live. I live in a little teeny tiny town called Buell, Idaho. It's little. And, but we're kind of our own community. We're far enough away. We've got our own stoplight. We have our own restaurants. We have a couple banks, and we have our own huge 4th of July parade. So we're far enough removed. We're kind of our own big place here. So I am going to get some people together, and I am going to do some research, and I'm going to find out what I need to do to take to the city council and try to make the little town that I live in Second Amendment sanctuary city. Why not, right? I might as well. Now, whether or not the Second Amendment sanctuaries hold water, at least it says something, right? It says something that we, the people here, we like our Second Amendment rights. We're not going to give in. We're not going to give up. We're not going to go down without a fight. That's what it says. Is it going to hold water? Will anyone step in and meet the feds at the city line or city limit sign, or will the state meet the feds at the state line and say, nope, we're not going to do it. We're not going to help you. Go away. We don't want you here. I don't know. You never know. You never know until the rubber meets the road, whether or not that's going to happen or not. But it's pretty symbolic. And I would kind of like to get that done. I really would. And I think I'm going to look into it. I've got a list of people already. I put a call up on my Facebook page, Patriot Defense Facebook page, to see if I could get anyone who wanted to do this. And actually, I might pull that link over onto my personal Facebook page and throw that up there as well. I would like to show up, a group of people show up and present them with some paperwork and say, I don't know how to do this, but this is what we want to do, and kind of see how it goes. I think that would be fantastic. So if you live in this area, if you live in Buell and you listen to the Patriot Defense podcast, which you may or may not, I would love your help. That would be absolutely fantastic. Now, like always, I end the podcast almost the exact same way every single week. I do want to say thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you for sharing it on social media. That's the best thing you can do, by the way, share it on social media. Thank you for watching YouTube Live all 2 viewers. I appreciate that. I really do. I honestly do. I know it's kind of a weird time of day for it, but I do appreciate that. If you are on my Facebook page and I post this video up, if you share it on your social media page, that would be absolutely wonderful. I would surely appreciate that. Now, you can subscribe to the podcast, the audio portion of the podcast, on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. Anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find the Patriot Defense Podcast. And if you go to my Patriot Defense YouTube channel, now, I don't know how to use technology real well. And there are 2 channels that I have. And they both have the Patriot Defense logo. This logo right here. Right. I'm trying to look. This logo right here. There's 2 of those. One says Todd Eccles. One says Patriot Defense. Go to the Patriot Defense one, not the Todd Eccles one. I don't even use that. I probably should just freaking remove it. But go to the Patriot Defense one, and if you click on alert for live videos, this will come up. This will alert you. But make sure you subscribe to the channel. That would help me out a bunch. I know one day YouTube's probably just going to kick me off, and it's going to cry. I'm going to cry, right? All those videos gone. There are other places that I can port all my YouTube videos over to, and I've tried. But if I don't get 300 subscribers, they aren't going to do it. They sent me an email and told me that I have to have at least 300 subscribers, and they're not going to. I'm like, how annoying that is. But if you could subscribe, share it, link it, social media, you name it, I would sure appreciate it. I really, really, really would. If you have any comments or questions or thoughts and you want to get a hold of me, if you want to just say hi, you can call me, you can text me. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. Call me or text me, area code 620-794-6223. That's area code 620-794-6223. You can even email me at info at the @ symbol, patriotdefense13.com. That's info at patriotdefense13.com. If you did that, get a hold of me. Drop me a line. Maybe I'll get you on the show. I don't care. Maybe you know how to get your city to be a Second Amendment sanctuary. Maybe you know the process. Maybe you know the paperwork. Maybe I have to write something up and I don't know that. Maybe I can use yours and just take your city name out and put my city name there. That would be cool. Let me know. That would be fantastic. But until then, I don't know that I'm going to be doing a podcast this next weekend, because I'll be out of town for that training. So we will see. Maybe I'll do something. I don't know. Maybe I'll pack all my crap to Arizona with me if it's working. Who knows? But until then, you guys, I want you guys to have a absolutely great week. And I sure appreciate you listening. I appreciate you sharing it with friends. And until then, talk to you guys later. Bye.